The voice of student athletics, the OpenMic Broadcast Network.
At this time, we will be joined by Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Do we have Coach Maynor on the line?
Yes, sir. I'm here. How you doing today?
Doing great, Coach. Thanks so much. Coach, if you could start us out with an opening statement about your team's big non-conference road win against North Alabama.
Yeah, it was a big win. All wins are good, and get a win out of conference to help show that the SWAC has good football and good football coaches and good football players, and that we can win games outside our conference. Is big for us and our program and this conference. And we knew we could play with these guys. They beat us by 5 last year at our place, and we had a chance to make a couple plays that we didn't make. And so we go up there in a hostile environment, and it was pretty much sold out and hot and humid. And those guys got off to a good start on the score the first drive, and then we turned the ball over, muffed the punt, and we fumbled a kickoff return and gave them short fields. But our defense was able to bogey net and holding the field goals and kind of keep the offense in the game. As we moved the ball, started moving the ball in the second quarter, we got down the red zone and went for it on fourth down and didn't get it. I just felt that we needed 7 instead of 3 there because we was down 18 at the time. So we went in the half down 18, but we felt good about the game because the defense was playing great. We put them in some bad situations and was able to hold the guys to field goals. And we knew we could move the ball. We just had to start executing a little bit better. So we got it coming out and scored, and the defense got another stop and we scored again and kind of got the momentum on our side and tied it up going to the fourth quarter, 21-21, and we was able to score again. We scored on the first 5 possessions of the second half to take a 31-24 lead and wound up winning the game. But our guys just never quit, never gave up, always believed, and defense played great. Man, you got to take a hats off to those guys. They only gave up 3 points in the second half, and the offense that we had to do and score points to come back and win that football game.
Thank you so much, Coach. Just looking at the statistics from the game, 272 yards on the ground for your Bulldogs, spearheaded by none other than Jordan Bentley, who does what he's done throughout the course of his career, which is run the ball very, very hard. 26 carries for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. Could you touch on his performance?
It was a great performance. We actually was down 18, and we said, you know what, we need to run the ball a little bit more. And so we started running the ball and just pounding them, and then we mixed in a couple of passes and a reverse or 2 there. And but Bentley was carrying guys, breaking tackles, and just getting guys fired up, getting the offense pumped up, getting the defense pumped up, getting the crowd in the game. We had a nice crowd on our side that came down and supported. Bentley does what Bentley do, man. He's just a workhorse. He don't make any mistakes. He's always lined up in the right spot. He can block in the passing game, and he does all the little things, and then he's our leader, so he got us going.
Coach, talking about your defensive effort, obviously they were able to have some success jumping out there to an 18-0 advantage over you guys. What did you see as the biggest adjustment that y'all made defensively to where you were able to get some stops against them?
Well, we didn't have a good fit with our safety on the first touchdown. We stopped on the first 2 plays, and then third down they tried a sluggo on a slant and go. And we was in great position, and they kind of pushed us off a little bit, and we didn't get the call, and guy made the catch. And then on second down they ran outside zone, and the safety didn't get the right fit, and we had nobody there. And they ran around the corner for a touchdown. But, after that drive, our defense kind of settled down. And they really didn't do bad on that drive. We had 1 bust, and then we kind of got robbed on the call. But, like I said, we turned the ball over in their territory twice on, like, the 20-yard line. So, for our defense to come away with field goals there, the defense was playing good. It was down 18 points, but it wasn't all on those guys. It was more on the special teams and the offense. And those guys really bowled their neck and played great in the first half to keep us in the game. And that's what allowed us to be able to come back in the second half.
Coach, another thing that stood out defensively was the play of Armani Holloway. I mean, when you look at the stat line, 12 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, a quarterback hurry, a breakup. Just really seemed to be very disruptive to everything that they were trying to do on the offensive side of the ball. How would you categorize his play?
Amani Holloway type. You know, he's a type player. You look at him on film, and he's not very flashy, you know, but he just makes plays. You know, he's going to be around that ball. He's a ball hawk. And, you know, he makes plays in the backfield. He makes the tackle when the tackle comes his way. And he was the guy that hit the quarterback and caused him to fumble the last series, and we recovered and was able to kneel down and end the game. So he just makes big play after big play, man. We've come to expect him to make plays, you know, and he don't let us down. He just makes plays, and the bigger the game, the better he plays.
Coach, last one for me. You alluded to it in your opening statement, just how big it is for the SWAC member institutions to compete well out of conference. Obviously, North Alabama out of the Big South, you guys played them extremely well and came out there with a win. What would you say is the biggest impact these type of wins have when you're able to get these kind of wins outside of conference play?
Well, you know, I think the Big South, maybe not last year, but the year before, got 2 teams. I think they had like 7 teams in the conference, and 2 of them went to the playoffs. You know, so conferences like that get a lot of respect when it comes to going to the playoffs and postseason play and rankings and all that stuff. So it's important for us to play well against those guys so that we can compete. And then it's more important for us to win and beat those guys. Now, we don't know how good they're going to be. We got to wait and see. Hopefully they can win the Big South Conference, you know, or play in the title game, and that'll show how good our conference is, and that we could beat a team over there that's playing for the conference title or going to the playoffs, you know. Now, all our teams, of course, can't go to the playoffs because we got some teams that play later in the postseason, but we do have some teams that can go. Like, for us, for example, we can go to the playoffs, you know. So we just have to continue winning and put ourselves in position in case we don't go to the SWAC championship or the Celebration Bowl. We'll be bowl eligible. And so it's huge for our program and our conference.
And, Coach, if you could, actually one more question from me. Could you preview your upcoming opponent as you will travel to play at Sanford?
Yes, Sanford is another out-of-conference game, another playoff team. They was in the playoffs just in 2017. So it's another opportunity for us to show that we can play with these playoff top caliber teams, and that the SWAC has good football, just as good as any other conference in FCS football. So we want to go put on a good show, keep it close, and get it to the fourth quarter, have a chance to win the football game, and represent the SWAC conference as best we can. But Coach Hatcher is a great football coach. He has a career record of, I think, like 140 and 72. He's an offensive guy. He's always put up big numbers on the offense side of the ball. He had a quarterback there a couple of years ago that won the Walter Payton Award that threw for 4,000 yards in a season. So, you know, they're used to putting up big numbers, 400, close to 500 yards a game, and scoring points and throwing it around. So, you know, we have to be ready on defense to, you know, not shut them down, but contain them. You know, not give them a whole bunch of big plays and long passes, and make them work down the field and see if we can't get to that quarterback and rattle him and make them throw us some.
Coach Maynard, we appreciate you taking some time out your day to speak with us, and good luck with your upcoming opponent, Sanford, this weekend.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
We now go to Montgomery, where the Alabama State Hornets fell to Kennesaw State at home by a score of 42-7. We will now be joined by head coach Hill Ely. Do we have Coach Ely on the line?
Yes, you do. Good morning.
Good morning, Coach. Coach, if you could please just start us out with an opening statement about your most recent opponent, Kennesaw State.
Well, I mean, it was a game that was had a lot of miscues up early. Went from a block punt to a turnover that resulted in 14 points for them, and just never recovered that whole first half. I think the second half was a better game going against that triple option, and the guys kind of got their composure second half, but by that time it was kind of out of reach, and just never recovered. They did a good job of capitalizing on our miscues. The turnovers were out this week on for us, penalties. We just hadn't played that way all, the first couple of games, and it was a bad situation to play your worst game against a team that's ranked number 7, and they just capitalized on the mistakes and was able to get out of here with a win.
Thank you, Coach. And obviously for you guys, another big day for Jefferson, receiving the ball with 4 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown with a long of 55 yards. Just talk a little bit about, his play and his progression of what you've seen out of him the last few weeks.
Well, I mean, Mike is a guy that has been coming along, along the whole off season, and his work ethic transforms over into Saturday. So we know that he can make a play on the football. We just have to get to the point where, we're not giving up hurries and pressures, which will, negate us getting the ball down the field. Mike, he can take the top off of coverage. He's 6'5", so the 50-50 ball is always in effect. I mean, just a real good kid, and is only fitting with everything that he's going through, that he's really putting out week in and week out.
Coach, obviously this week you'll get back into, you'll get into your first SWAC game of the year. You host the Grambling State Tigers at home. Can you preview that matchup for us?
Well, I mean, Grambling is Grambling. I mean, they're consistent. They've been at the top of the conference, for the last few years since Coach, Fobbs has taken over, and even before that. They play their brand of football. They get after you on defense. They do a good job of spreading the ball around the field offensively, and they do a good job in the special teams. They're just a solid ball club. I mean, we got our work cut out. It's a home game for us, and, the biggest thing for us is just to go in and play our brand of football, but we can't go in and play the type of game we just played this week, or we end up with the same result. We have to find a way to get better from what we did this past weekend and play a real good ball club.
Coach, good morning to you. It's Ty Miller calling from the Power News and Sports Radio Network.
Ty, what's going on, brother?
I'm good. Coach, looking back to what happened against Grambling last season, can you kind of talk about what went wrong there and how do you correct some of those things against some of the same players you'll see this year?
Well, Grambling was, it was almost like a replica this past weekend. I mean, we got into the ball game. They returned the punt on us for a touchdown. The next drive, we was driving down and threw an interception. They went back for a touchdown down, and we was 14 points down before we was able to settle the guys down and play some ball. It's another good program. They capitalize on your mistakes. We just can't go in and not cover down on the kick, whether it's a kickoff or punt. And we can't, allow the big plays against our defense and not the pressures against our offense. I mean, we got a lot of things to guard against when you got a solid program that's coming in. They have a FBS front that they bring in. Guys, get a lot of pressure, a lot of movement, a lot of size up front. They just have a real good ball club.
How much of a difference will it make having to not travel this week and have this game at home?
Well, I mean, anytime you get a chance to play at home, you get that extra time for preparation, and based off of what we did this week, we definitely need it.
And Grambling had a week off to prepare for you. Does that make the opponent tougher when they have a week off?
It definitely does. I mean, we just came from, going against a triple option where 9-10 players on the ground every play. So, we still got some injuries and stuff that we got to recover from, and they've had a chance to nurse their injuries before they go in the contest. So they should be, well and refreshed and researched with being able to take 2 weeks to scout an opponent. I mean, all the advantages going a bye week, that I'm quite sure that they'll benefit from.
And Coach, you've seen 3 different levels of teams so far, starting with UAB, then Tuskegee, and then Kennesaw State. So do you have a true indication as to where your team is as it heads to SWAC play? We face one of the top in FBS. We face top in Division II. We face the top in FCS. So,
somewhere in between is us. So we just have to find out, continue to find out what we do good and drive on that, and that's in all three phases. I mean, I think, from all the, three contests, the guys played up in two and was able to win one, which probably should have won another, but you didn't, and then you lose to a team like this to come in. I think as you show it to the players, they know that the team that took the field this week wasn't the team that we've been lining down with those previous 2 weeks. You come off an emotional high win against Tuskegee, and now the next week we don't line back out, so it could be a couple of different folds. So somewhere in between, you'll find our team.
Coach, we appreciate you jumping on the call with us, and we look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you.
We now go to Alcorn State, where the Braves fell to McNeese State on the road by a score of 17-14. We'll be joined by head coach Fred McNair. Do we have Coach McNair on the line?
Yes, sir. What's up?
Hey, good morning, Coach. Coach, if you could please just give us an opening statement recapping your opponent last week at McNeese State.
Well, just a rough loss. We didn't play as well as we were expecting as coaches. We didn't play so well the first half offensively. We didn't execute. Defense, I thought we played good in some aspect of the game, but overall, we didn't give a team effort. I think that one of the baddest football games we ever played. And I hope that was out of our system to the standpoint of a bad football game. So it was a bad football game overall, and all phases of it. Just got to get back to the drawing board and get better.
Coach, one of the things that looking at the stat line, obviously they went up early with the 17 points, but in the second half you guys pitched a shutout. What did you see as the biggest difference in the way that your defense played in the first half in comparison to the second half?
Well, just mentally being focused, and we had some blown coverages that I thought that we should have been on top of. For those touchdown passes that they called. Eliminate that, it's a different ball game as well. First half, we had drives going, just couldn't sustain those drives. There's a lot of inconsistency on the offensive play, but I thought we came out second half and played better, able to put up 14 points in the second half and pitch the shutout on defense, just eliminate some of those middle errors that will cost you ball games. There's a different outcome. So we just got to get back to the drawing board and get them guys focused on things they did wrong.
Hey, Coach, good morning to you. Ty Miller here. How you doing?
Hey, Ty, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Coach. Noah Johnson, Deshaun Waller, what is their status right now?
Right now, we give them evaluated as of today. Sometimes this afternoon we'll know something really, guys, but right now they potentially to go for Saturday.
You said your team after the game that they need to mature, so can you expound on that?
Yeah, just from the aspect of growing up during the time of play, a lot of times just being focused on some of the things that we teach in practice, A lot of that comes within, within ourselves. Football is football, and I think that we fail to realize that how the game is played sometimes on the field. You have 60 minutes to go at each other real hard, and we don't do that in some cases. So, for maturity, that's the maturity part they have to really understand. You have 60 minutes between the line to beat up on your opponent for 60 minutes. And sometimes I think we fail to realize that's what it's for, from that aspect of it.
Coach, when you take on Prairie View, you're facing a potent offense. Your thoughts on Jalen Morton and DeWanya Tucker?
Oh, man, they're going to get a great football team, man. Coach Billy got those guys really scoring a lot of points. So, we just got to be like I said, mentally sound from all aspects of it. You know, they got a good defense, a lot of movement, a lot of good things they're doing on defense too. So we just got to prepare ourselves. You know, a lot of times it's we just take care of what we need to take care of for all form-wise. I think we'll be fine. No matter what the opposition do, they will be okay. We just have to get these guys mentally prepared to play this game. You know, I know Dooley, he's preparing those guys. First conference play for us, I know. They don't play one conference game, so they into their conference. So are we now this week. So we just got to prepare them guys to be able to play a tough football game.
Hey, Coach, can you talk about where your offensive line is because of the defense they're going to be facing this week, the Panther pass rush?
I understand you now.
So you talk about your offensive line in terms of what they have to do to prepare for Prairie View's pass rush.
Oh, the same thing. I mean, the same thing. It's about being mentally focused. I mean, we wasn't mentally focused up front this past week, and we got to hand it to us. And those guys know. I mean, we got a responsibility. We got to protect the quarterback and be able to open gaps to run the football. So we didn't do that as well this weekend as we should have. That's why we couldn't do it. We weren't explosive enough. We had opportunities to be there, be explosive, but we wasn't. So, you know, our mind said going to the game, we got to prepare. Stay mentally focused on the task at hand because there's going to be some of the defensive problems we face this past weekend. Probably even better. So those guys got to prepare themselves to get ready for a fight.
Coach, I don't know how much you looked at Prairie View yet, but how much different are they this year than what you faced last year, in your opinion?
Man, offensively, I think they're more explosive this year than it was last year. Defensively, they're pretty tough inside. And the secondary, so they got all the attributes they can take to win ball games. I know that. So, you know, just having that mindset of what they can do, we just got to prepare ourselves for a long afternoon.
Coach, I had an opportunity to watch some of the tributes yesterday with the retiring of Steve McNair's jersey. Can you talk a little bit about what that moment meant for you along with your family?
I thought it was a great moment, man. Very excited to see it happen. You know, I kind of figured it was going to happen, but just knowing what day it would happen, I just didn't know that. But it was a great moment for the family, you know, and the fans. It was outstanding, man. It was a very emotional moment, you know, and just watching the team play and, you know, just kind of visualizing the things that Steve was doing and he was on the field at that time. It's been a long time since I've been back to Nashville to a football game since Steve was there. You know, and just the moment of being there and how excited it was and seeing the fans and some people still remember the family, just communicating with us and just seeing us and emotionally enjoying the moment. It was exciting, man. I'll tell you, it was good to see.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to jump on the call with us, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right. Thank you, sir.
We now go to Arkansas Pine Bluff, where the Golden Lions got a big win at home against Langston, defeating Langston by a score of 53-15. We will now be joined by Coach Thomas. Do we have Coach Thomas on the line?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Coach. Coach, if you could please just give us an opening statement about your team's win against Langston.
I thought overall the kids responded to first game at home. A lot of distractions. A lot of information for us. Just being back at home and having to deal with tickets and parking and just a lot of stuff that they had to deal with at home that normally kind of isolated from on the road, and they kind of handled it well. Got off to a quick start. Offensively, Coach Gales and the crew was disappointed, going 3 and out on the first series, but picked it up on the end. From then on, executed on a high level, was able to score a bunch of points early. Harry Ballard, did a great job of changing the field over with some big plays. Skyler, threw the football tremendously. Offensive line, had some guys went down the previous week, and they kind of stepped up and, did a good job getting the quarterback time. Defensively responded, threw around, made some plays, limited Langston. Got a good offense, got a good ball club. Coach Morgan has done a great job, with that program. And then also special team, did a great job once again. So another complete effort. Got the penalties down. I think we had about 4 this week, from the previous 2 weeks, which is always exciting and to see them understand, the mission and from that aspect. But just overall, I thought they prepared well during the week, and it was a direct reflection of how they played. And I think if we continue to do that, we'll give ourselves chances, each Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. And just looking at the box score from your game, looking at the numbers again of Henry Ballard, 5 receptions for 147 yards, 2 touchdowns. Can you talk to us a little bit about his performance?
He's just a big-time player, big-time athlete, team player. Takes the ball at the highest point, physical. Block when the ball is not coming to him. He's just a great perimeter asset. He's just a big-time college football player, and he do it the right way. So, just to get him a part of us, this year, it's really been tremendous for us. But the biggest thing is he's a team player. He's not an eye guy. He's about the team, and that what really helps the Juan and Ty and Raph and all those guys inside. Just him coming to work. Opening some things up. It's just so happened these last couple of weeks, the read has been for him to get open. And that could be because, you got All-American on the other side and, people may be rolling coverage towards him. And, Harry's just been, been able to make some big-time plays for us.
And, Coach, just looking at the quarterback position with Skylar Perry and Shannon Patrick, a combined 16 of 21 for 324 yards and 4 touchdowns, a pretty efficient effort from the QB position. How would you analyze the play at quarterback?
Efficient, is kind of, what we doing is we changing the culture. We want to be efficient, want to be tough, sit in the pocket, make big time throws, but we want to be able to process a lot of information. And Coach Gamble has done a tremendous job with those guys. You got a 2 quarterback system where nowadays when you're not the starter in college football, you normally enter the portal. But those guys are team players. To see Shannon throw a touchdown and Skyler, high five him and run out there and support him and vice versa. So we're just glad to have both of those guys. But it's just a testament to the coaching. Coach Gamble does a great job in the meeting room, making sure those guys prepare, but also being a team player. So we're just excited to have both of those guys on our roster and just being efficient. They're efficient. They take what the defense give us. But it's just also good to have, Harry Ballard, DeJuan Miller, Ty and Raph, and Kobe McNeil to make plays for him.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Eric Taylor, Democrat Gazette, man. Good morning.
I'm blessed. Thank you. I'm blessed. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right, man. Doing okay. You got another tough team coming in. Well, you all going there, Tennessee State Saturday. I think they've played a couple of SWAC teams already. What do you know about them going in?
Everything. The offensive coordinator, my football brother, we was in the meeting together, at Alcorn State, won championship together. So know a lot about them. I'm a product of the HBCU sector. Tennessee State has always been one of those upper echelon teams. Even when I was at UT Martin, we had a chance to go against them. So great ball club. They lost a tough one on Saturday, so I know they'll be chomping at the bits, to get back and make amends for it. Got a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism, a lot of Division I transfers. So, we got our hands full, but we wouldn't want it no other way, in our building. We just worry about us, and we just prepare our tails off to give ourselves all the advantages. And then, we'll let the outcome take care of itself. But it's a good ball club we're about to go face.
Coach, when you look at the start of your team being 2-1 to this point, what have you been most pleased with so far through the first 3 weeks of the season?
Just the preparation and them being able to deal with it. Our battle cry has been, failure way to success. And it's been a lot of failure around here. But just to see them had a wherewithal to be able to deal with the adverse situations and prepare and believe in, not only from an administration standpoint but a coaching standpoint, and understand that they are good enough to win. That when you do it the right way, and make sure you dot all your I's and cross all your T's, you have a chance to be successful, and that's what's happening. So to see them come out and reap the benefits of hard work and the discipline and the structure, but just believing in the coaching staff, it's really been the most exciting part for me to see them eyes light up, knowing that now that they're doing it the right way and they're having some success from it.
Going forward, Coach, how are you planning on working with your two-quarterback system? So far, it's been working out for you. Going on.
But we're going to kind of keep it as is. I think those guys, it didn't dawn on me until Coach Gamble said it, that that's how they practice. Ever since they've been here, before Shannon got hurt last year, that each one of them starts, a practice off. And so they've been on that rotation for the whole year. And it's new for me, and I'm the first one to, go to my old wise men, what I call Coach Gill and Coach Gamble, when, I don't really understand something or need some assistance with. And, when he showed me that, I went back and watched all the film for about a year, going into the spring, and lo and behold, each day there was a new quarterback that started, with the particular one group. And so the rotation's been as is, and those guys are good with it. And like I, talked to them, man, each one of them guys could have, easily entered their name in the portal, but it just, says a lot about them, and who they are and how much they believe in the system to be able to compete and know that it's about the team. And then, those guys, they compete like crazy, but they also, good teammates. So it's really been a blessing for us.
Coach, you've been asked a lot about the two quarterback system. Talk about the luxury you also have at running back with a pair of senior guys in Taylor Porter and also Keyshawn Williams.
Man, you talking about two bookends right there now. I mean, that's huge. You got two big-time running backs that can, take it the distance, and they're in the same situation. You see Keyshawn, win accolade last week, and then Taylor Cummins go, maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns this week. They just great teammates, but it's a luxury to have, with that offensive line that, if you don't squeeze or spill or get underneath that block or you lock out a gap, each one of those guys can go, 80 yards on you. So just to have those toys, and be able to, call particular plays and watch those guys not only block for each other and cheer each other on, but just, above average skill set has really helped, Coach Gales and that offensive staff to be able to just call good plays and put the offense in the best position to be successful. I'm just proud of them guys, man. They're unselfish kids, they really care about each other, and I think they're just, one of the main reasons why they're having success, is just whoever's number called, they open to the challenge, and they cheer everybody on, so that's really exciting.
Coming back to your alma mater as the head coach and understanding your deficiencies as a program, how have you overcame them so far, with the success you had so far this season?
It's kind of just, from a community standpoint, it's just the hard hat and roll your sleeves up mentality. Around here, you look in the stands and it's 3 minutes left in the third and there's a packed crowd and the game may be out of hand Saturday. And, that's the biggest thing. You just kind of do it for the community. You know how important it is for everybody besides, myself and this coaching staff. So for me, it means everything, and I keep saying it forever. It's the place to save my life. So I feel I'm indebted to give back, to put a good product out there that the community and everybody here is proud for. When you go by the RV park and it's thank you and the kids, going out fellowshipping with them. It's been a long time coming, and we wouldn't want it no other way because they're doing it the right way. This place always been tough, always been hard-nosed, and now they're able to deal with the analytics. They're able to think and process information. So we're just excited about, where we headed, and it's an everyday struggle. We know Rome wasn't built in a day. It was just tore down in a day. And we're going to continue to build on this foundation, this culture, because we want this to be lasting. This ain't a one-stop shop. We want this place to be what the institution entails. And it's a long-lasting legacy of not only just good athletes, but just good people from all different walks of life.
Coach Thomas, in a game, obviously, where you guys were in control, were you able to get some guys rested, and were you able to get a look at maybe some guys that typically you didn't see a lot of playing time from up to this point?
We really did. We really did, and it was good. To see Omar Allen, a local kid, the third running back, to come in and get big time minutes. Rashad DeCosta, true, left tackle, and even defensively, get some of them guys that we talk about the future. They one injury away, from being in there playing big time minutes. Mark Harris was a true freshman left tackle that started every game for us. And, so that was huge to be able to get those guys in there to kind of mix it up a little bit. And also, they always sit on the sideline and, you hear them talking, they put me in, or I could have did this. And then when they get the opportunity, they see how fast it is, and that Langston Ball Club was a good ball club. So I told the coaches to go in and grade it hard, for those guys who may not be starters, but, down this conference stretch, just going to have to play big minutes for us. So we was able to, play a lot of kids and be able to get evaluation of them also.
Coach Thomas, we appreciate, as always, you jumping on the call with us, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
I appreciate you guys.
We will now go to Grambling State, where the Tigers had last weekend off, and they will jump into conference play this week at Alabama State. Do we have Coach Fobbs on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, Coach. Coach, if you could, please open us up with a statement previewing your upcoming matchup at Alabama State.
Well, I tell you, Coach Hill does an exceptional job, of coaching, and he's someone that I've always admired, as a football coach and a disciplinarian. Of course, you know what you're going to get, when you face his teams. They're going to be physical, they're going to be tough, they're going to be disciplined, and they're going to play the game the right way. And they have really turned the corner, when you look at, how they're playing, as opposed to, how they've grown. So, going over to Montgomery, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a hostile environment, and we're looking forward to going over there and playing.
Coach, obviously with the bye week gives you an opportunity to get some guys rested and rejuvenated for this stretch run. Just talk a little bit about some of that aspect of it, along with some of the preparation that went into getting ready for Alabama State.
Well, anytime you have one of those weeks like we had last week, you want to kind of assess, what you've done and see what you're doing well, but then also see what you're not doing so well. And then kind of, scratch where it itches, so to speak, to try to make those areas stronger, and then make those areas that are strong even stronger. So that's basically what our focus, was this past week, was to do that, and to, try to continue to develop some young kids and get some young kids ready to play, to create more depth for ourselves, so that we can, continue to grow and be a better football team.
Coach, just looking offensively for you guys, I know the first two games, obviously you guys played up in competition. So I don't think it's reflective of what you guys are averaging as really reflective of the type of offense that you guys potentially can be. But can you just touch on what you hope to see offensively here as you get into conference play?
Well, of course we want to execute, and that's no different than any other week. It not necessarily matters who we play. We want to make sure we execute, make sure we get the ball to our playmakers and score points, and then put our defense in position, where they can play, stellar defense. For us, it's about, it's a team game, and we want to make sure that we're continuing to do that. We want to, do some things that will help us defensively, not necessarily hurt us, and all three phases are important, and you want to make sure that you're compatible in all three areas.
Coach, looking at Alabama State, obviously having played out of conference against FBS, one of the best D2 programs in Tuskegee, and then one of the top FCS programs in Kennesaw State. Watching film on them, how hard is it really to get a good gauge on a team like that, having been played, varying ranges of competition?
No, it's not difficult. I mean, when you look at the players and the players and you see how hard they play, you're playing against a really good football team, and that's just the way it goes. I mean, we don't necessarily look at the level; we look at who we're playing, and we make sure that we know who those guys are and make sure that we put together a really good plan in order to to play against them. So the opponent, that's not something we focus on. We focus on who we're actually playing, not who they play.
Coach, we appreciate you taking some time to jump on the call with us, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right, thank you.
We now go to Jackson State, where the Tigers snapped a 6-game losing streak to Tennessee State with a 49-44 win in the Southern Heritage Classic. This time we'll be joined by Coach Hendrick with Jackson State. Do we have Coach Hendrick on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, Coach. Coach, if you could please just recap your team's big win last weekend against Tennessee State.
Well, we were fortunate to, jump on them early and get out to a lead on them. And it was a hard-fought game all the way through. They did a good job, especially in the second half, of coming back and inserting the quarterback. And they got the passing game going a little bit. And once you get the passing game going, it's hard sometimes to get that stopped up. And they were able to make a rush, but we stayed ahead of them far enough where it was really difficult for them to come back and be able to beat us. So, hats off to them for the way they played, and hats off to our kids for being resilient and continuing to fight all the way through the game.
Coach, to start the game, big momentum swing for you guys when Josh Little took it all the way for a touchdown for 100 yards, and then a swing back. They had a long kick return. But then your team settled down and was able to go down and sustain some drives. Can you kind of just talk a little bit about that early momentum swing in the first few minutes of that first quarter?
Yeah, well, it's an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. We get a big up to return to opening kickoff for a touchdown, and then we kick off and then allow them to come right back and do it. But as you said, our kids settling in. We're settling on offense and we're settling on defense, and began to be able to run the ball pretty effectively against them, and then got a few stops on defense, and we were able to build a 28-7 lead on them, which allowed us to be out in front and have a little advantage and be able to hold them off at the end.
And, Coach, you alluded to the effectiveness of your run game for 338 yards while limiting them to a little bit over 100. What was clicking for you guys on the ground, and how do you hope to continue to keep that momentum moving forward?
Well, the one thing, I think one of the most improved parts of our football team right now is our offensive line up front. Those guys are really playing good as a group, and they're really melding in together well. And then we've got backs. We've got 4 or 5 running backs that we think we can put any of them in the game, and they can play well for us. And the freshman Tyson Alexander is really playing well, along with Jordan and Keyshawn Harper. And we have a couple other backs that you haven't seen that we think also can carry those. So we think we've got a good problem here. And obviously, we always want to be able to run the ball because that opens up the play action passing game for us and allows us to throw some balls around. So hopefully we'll be able to keep that momentum going in the running game and as we go through the rest of the season.
And, Coach, your first 3 outings of the season, obviously, on the road, and then now you have a open week. How good of timing is this bye week for you as you just look to kind of get some guys healed up for the stretch run down the stretch?
Well, it's really valuable for us right now because we've got some guys that are banged up. We've got some injuries right now on our football team that we really need to get healed. So it's good to allow us to have an opportunity to rest. Also, along with taking an in-depth look at ourselves offensively, defensively, and the special teams and seeing where we need to improve and the things that we need to do better. And also hopefully being able to build some depth to get some young guys ready to play. Hopefully get another guy or 2 ready to play so we can have our depth built up a little bit better.
Coach, obviously we alluded to you guys having a bye week this week, and then you'll get right back after it September 28th against Kentucky State. Can you preview that matchup for us if you could?
Well, I'm expecting to be a handful because of what they do offensively. They run that flex bone offense with the option, and it's something that we don't see. We don't see it every year. We don't practice against it. So I'm glad that we have a little bit more time, prep time to get prepared to play against the option football game that they play. And, hopefully we can continue our movement on offense so we can score a few points against them because, when you play a team like that, they have a tendency to run a little clock on you and to possess the ball a little bit. They possess it, they get a few first downs, you end up stopping hopefully after a while, but they have a tendency to run clock on you. So we need to be really efficient on offense as well as really assignment sound and ready on defense in order to get stopped what they do.
Hey, Coach, this is Mike Wallace from the Blind City Media up in Memphis. I had a chance to sit beside your wife in the press box during the game Saturday, so she told me to make sure I told you that she behaved herself well and didn't yell as much as she normally yells when she's on the sideline.
That's amazing because she really usually doesn't.
But I wanted to ask you, man, I've seen 2 of the 3 games in person you guys have played. Even against Bethune-Cookman, you guys still put up 500 yards in total offense. You're seeing the offense start to find its rhythm right now. How much of a difference in terms of night and day is there in the confidence of that offense from where it was this time a year ago to where it is right now?
Well, the biggest thing about us right now more than anything else is our quarterback play and our offensive line play. I've always felt we've had skill around here. I've always felt we had guys at receiver and running back that if we ever had the quarterback play someone who could distribute the ball like we needed to get it done, that we would shine on offense. And right now, our offensive line is playing well, and our quarterback is managing the game well and doing what it takes to win. Bethune-Cookman, if you look at that game, we're a little bit higher on the higher side in the passing game. You look at this game, we're a little higher side in the running game. So I think we have the ability to be able to throw the ball and also to run the ball. And it's good to have an opportunity to whatever you need during that course of that game that you can get done. And I think that we're only going to get better at it as we get more synchronized in everything that we do as the season goes along.
And you talked about, if I can follow up on that, you talked about having a good problem of depth at the running back position. You also have the same thing at the quarterback position. How much of a challenge or how much of an opportunity is it to have those guys and continue to be confident those guys count?
Well, it's a big deal for us, because like I said, we've had a problem with the guy behind the center since I've been here, and now we've got 3 guys that I'm comfortable with all 3 of them, no matter who's in the game. Quincy, the young freshman, he played in the first game and hasn't really played since. I feel bad about that because he's such a good young player. But, you got Derek playing really well, and then also Jalen is playing well. And so it's hard to find minutes for everybody. It's hard to play 3 of them. But I think it's a good problem. I think we got a good problem in receivers. So I think we got a good group of guys playing at that position also.
Coach, last question for me. You guys were able to control time of possession against Tennessee State, and obviously, they have some weapons offensively. Just to be able to control that aspect of the game, how big was that for you guys being able to come out of there with that win?
I mean, it was tremendous for our program. When you're trying to instill a culture in the team, and the things that you're doing, it validates to have an opportunity to win a football game like that. Validates, okay, so what we're doing is working. And so hopefully this propels us to being the kind of program that I hope and envision that we are. And we're going to keep working at it. But the win was big for us in that regard because it validates the things that we've been doing in this program in terms of the work and in terms of the discipline things that we're doing, trying to build this program to hopefully get it back to what the people at Jackson State are used to.
Coach Hendrick, we always appreciate you jumping on the call with us, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Oh, no doubt. Thank you very much. You guys have a blessed one.
We now go to Mississippi Valley State, where the Delta Devils had last weekend off, and we will be joined by head coach Dancy. Do we have Coach Dancy on the line?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Morning, Coach. If you could preview your upcoming matchup against MEAC foe Bethune-Cookman.
Oh man, I think Bethune-Cookman is a very, very solid football team on both sides of the ball. High-power offense, a very strong defense up front, and they do a lot of things defensively, a very multiple team defensively. And I also think Coach Sims has done a great job the past 5 years when he took over the program of continuing to, keep this team as a high-powered football team in the MEAC conference. So we're going to have our hands full this week. We know it. It's a team we faced last year. Went down to Bethune and faced them in Bethune, and it was a good game to the end. I think turnovers hurt us. We led that game. We led in the game all the way to the end. So it's going to be a good game here in Mississippi Valley.
Coach, obviously your last time out, you guys had a opportunity obviously to pull off a game that going into many people might not have given you guys much of a chance to win, but you were in the game and right there to the very finish, very easily could have went your way. When you went back and assessed the game and graded players out and just looked over at the game in general on film, what stood out to you?
Oh man, it was a tough one. I tell you that. To have it slip away like it did. When we went back and watched it, as you know, we had a bye week, so we had a chance to reflect not only that game but the past two games. Offensively and defensively, had a chance to look at the good and bad. But when you take a look at it, man, I thought our guys played hard. Man, they did what I asked them to do, and that's play 60 minutes of football, hard-nosed football. And that's all I asked them to do. It was unfortunate that it came down to, a fourth down play, a last play. And like I said, it was, sometimes you have to go against the referees, but a flag was actually thrown and they picked the flag up. So, it could have went both ways, but at the end, thought our guys played hard. It was just unfortunate we was on the other side of the at the end, we was the ones on the other side. We took the loss, but we learned from it, and we're moving on from it.
Coach, I know in previous conversations you've talked about just changing the culture of the program, and with your first two games out against Tennessee State and Lamar, I think it's safe to say that people have noticed a different direction to the program there at Mississippi Valley State. So with that being said, how excited will you guys be, not only your program, but just the community in general, to get an opportunity to host a team like Bethune-Cookman at your home stadium?
It's big for us. Like you said, for the community, for the kids, for the people for the Mississippi Valley State fans, alumni, it's huge, man. To see the players, the way they respond to, not only to myself but the new coaches that's around, man, they're responding well. They're accepting the challenges that not only that we give them, but like you said at first, nobody expects us to do nothing. Nobody expects us to compete with these teams. So, man, it's a great feeling, man. It's a great feeling, especially for the team, the players that you coaching, man. These guys, they're responding well. They want to win. Great group of humble young men. It's all about the team. It's not about them. They're willing to go out and put everything on the line to win here at Mississippi Valley State, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's only going to get better.
Coach, and one more question for me. I think the biggest thing that I've looked at and saw dramatic improvement, and I know we're looking at a small sample size of two games, but defensively, you guys get after it up front. Currently, you rank second in the conference in points allowed. So what is the mindset for you guys defensively, and how do you feel like you guys have been able to make such a dramatic turnaround through two games of the season?
I think it's starting with bringing the right guys in around the program. I think we got the right guys in the program, guys that want to be here, guys that want to play at Mississippi Valley State. That's one thing, but also just being able to stop the run this year. I think the last previous years we weren't as physical as we wanted to be up front on the defensive line, and now we got like 8 guys that can play up front that we wouldn't mind playing at any time of the game, and that's that right there alone helps you out a lot when you got a good rotation, a good rotation of guys that can go in and play at this level, and they can compete at this level. So that's a plus, man. And stopping the run and making people throw the ball. That's what we want to do. We want to be a physical team, and that's what we are. And we want to make people. We want to stop the run and have people throw the ball. And I think that's what we've been doing. But did a tremendous job by these coaches and getting these guys prepared week in and week out for what they're going to see on a regular basis on Saturdays.
Thank you, Coach. We will now open it up for questions for Coach Dancy with Mississippi Valley State. Coach, jumping back to your upcoming opponent, Bethune-Cookman, I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but observations of what you've seen on them on film up to this point.
Oh, like I said, a good football team, very good football team. Like I said, they got some explosive players offensively. When you take a look at them, Jimmy Robinson, one of the most explosive kids I've seen in a while at receiver. And A.K. Williams, the quarterback, is a dual threat quarterback who you have to stop in the run game and also stop in the passing game. And defensively, a very stout defense. If you watched them this weekend against Miami, I think the score was fairly reachable, in the first half when you're talking about it from a defensive standpoint. Stopping Miami, on 2 fourth-down conversions. The score was 14-0 right there by halftime until I think a turnover put the game away a little bit. But like I said, it's going to be a hard-fought game for us. Tough football team. We just got to go out and execute and prepare these guys like we've been preparing them and go out and execute well, and I think we'll be okay.
Coach, one more for me. When you have an opponent like Bethune who has played, obviously, an opponent within a conference, Jackson State, opponent that you play every year, does it provide any advantage to be able to look at them on film against a team that is, obviously one of your counterparts here in the league?
An advantage, I wouldn't say, but what it did was it gave us a good idea, a good identity of who they are, because I'm thinking the second game of their season was canceled due to the hurricane. So right now they've only played 2 games. So, just having that first game against Jackson State really gives us a good identity of who they are and what they're going to try to do. I know they have week to implement more, new plays, but I'm thinking, by watching the Jackson State film and a good game to break down, like you said, a conference team that we play every week. But like I said, we played them last year, so we're very familiar with the team. But so it doesn't give us an advantage, but it did give us a good hindsight of what they're trying to do and what they want to do and who they want to be offensively and defensively.
Coach Dancy, as always, we really appreciate you jumping on the call with us, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We now go to Prairie View A&M, with the Panthers dropped a 42-35 home decision to Nicholls State, and we'll be joined by head coach Eric Dooley. Do we have Coach Dooley on the line?
Yes, good morning. I'm here. How are you doing?
Hey, Coach, doing great. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. Coach, if you would please just start us out with an opening statement about your most recent opponent, Nicholls State.
Yes, we had a hard-fought battle here at home, our very first home game. I played against a great opponent, a good opponent that's actually ranked in the FCS. I thought we had a good game plan going into it. I thought our guys competed for 60 minutes, and we had a chance right there to win that thing at the end. Didn't come bounce the way that we would like it to, but I can say this here that my student athletes fought to the end. They fought for 60 minutes, and not proud of the loss, but proud of the way that they competed. And now we just got to move forward for another great football team that won the championship last year. So we know what they bring to the table. We know the challenges that we have before us.
And Coach, just following up, you alluded to the fact of Nicholls State being ranked and their program being one of the top programs in FCS. We've asked this question to a couple of our other coaches on the call, but collectively for the Southwestern Athletic Conference, being in these games, having opportunities to win these games, what did it do for the mindset, not only for your program, but just the SWAC as a whole?
I think it's good, not having the opportunity to win the game. We should win the game. There's not a question in my mind that, we have a great team, a great conference, and guys that can compete at a high level. But I think it does well for the conference to let them know that we can compete on a high level regardless of who we play.
Hey, Coach, when you look at the box score from the game, obviously you guys lost by a touchdown, but the third quarter for them when they were able to kind of get out in front with that 29-point effort, what did you go back and see on film that kind of led to them having success scoring the ball?
Well, it's some things that took place throughout the course of that game. You got to make sure that you are disciplined enough when it comes down to penalties. You can't put yourself in a situation that's going to hurt you to get off the field or to move the ball to keep the chains moving. So, you got to take advantage. I think they took full advantage of some of the things that took place within that third quarter that gave them a little leverage. But once again, Prairie View, they fought back.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. They say at each team you kind of know what you got by the third, fourth week of the season. How would you assess what you have in regards to the Panthers?
Well, I think we got, and I know this sounds in a different way, I think we got a good football team. We got all three phases. I think they are coming together and understanding what we're trying to accomplish, and I think the chemistry is setting right there. We just had a couple of games that didn't go our way for us to win, so it makes it look as though things are not coming to part, but I like what I see in all three phases. We just got to continue to press, just keep pressing.
Yes, sir. When I see 18, 11, and 13, those are the penalties per game. I know we talked about the guys getting used and the discipline part of it. Would that be a sign that they're still trying to wrap their mind about the discipline part, about, getting ready for preparing for quality teams?
No, the discipline part is there because we're not going to accept anything else. It's just some things we got to understand throughout the course of the game. We don't control that. We just let it fall the way it does, and we just got to play that hand. But some things that they understand that we cannot do that hurts the team. So, we good on that part right there for us, the discipline side. I think we're there. Just got to put it all together.
Right. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm calling the meat of your schedule starting this week, taking on Alcorn. Then you have Grambling. Then Southern University, being in the deep end of the pool, as I would call it. What's the mindset and the confidence level of the team as you get ready to approach toward Alcorn this week?
Well, our mindset is we know that we're in conference play right now. We know that everything is going to stick. We know that we're playing a worthy opponent that's used to going to the championship. So we know that we got to play. We have to play for 60 minutes and do the little things, the small detailed things that's going to give us the opportunity to win the game.
Okay, Coach. And also, as far as personnel goes, it was obvious, at least from my vantage point at the game, there was still a no Parker show and a no Elder show. Can you give us the status of those players?
You can expect to see those. You can expect to see the players going, but it's nothing that they've done or anything that's hurting them. Just some things we're waiting to come through, and we'll be fine.
Okay. And as far as the keys for coming out on top on a tough assignment, being on the reservation against Alcorn and Coach McNair and company.
Well, you got to play assignment sound football. You got to make sure that you're playing disciplined football. You got to make sure you're playing smart football, and you got to play for 60 minutes because you're playing a good football team.
Yes, sir. And my final question, Coach, I know you've been quoted for saying you want to be basketball on the football field, which means you like a high-tempo, fast-paced game. And it would seem like it was hard to get off the ground the first 4 or 5 series against Nicholls State. Is that attributed to guys just trying to wrap around the system or moving too fast? Because even in basketball, there is a half-court game. And what do you attribute to the slow starts?
I would say this time here was probably a slow start, maybe a couple of series right there. But as far as being a slow start, it has nothing to do with what we're trying to accomplish. The guys, they understand the system. They're moving within it. There's some things took place. So we're just going to continue to press and look forward for this games coming up.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Coach, and good luck this weekend, sir.
Thank you.
Coach Ty Miller, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. Alcorn State coming off of a loss, does it make it tougher to prepare for the Braves?
No, I mean, we're going to prepare regardless of it coming off a loss or win. We know who we're playing. We know the opponent that we're playing. So, no, it doesn't change anything. I'm pretty sure they're going to be hungry for a victory just as we would be hungry for a victory.
They have a couple of players injured, starting with Noah Johnson. Your thoughts on him if he's to go all the way this coming week?
He'll be prepared to play. Like, we said, have that old saying, it's SWAC time. He'll be ready to play this Saturday. So we prepare for everyone. We don't try to concern ourselves with who's out or who's injured or whatever. We pray for each young man to be healthy and be at their full speed. We just preparing to play in the Alcorn Braves.
Coach, I think Mike may have mentioned this. I may have missed it, but can you again talk about where your team is? What is the most dire need that you need for your team to work on at this point, going into your next game?
Well, I think we just got to finish. We got to finish. I thought we competed, but we got to understand when we have certain leads and certain things that's taking place, we got to know how to take over a game and continue and finish. But I'll say it again. I feel real good about where we are right now. We just got to continue to do what we're doing.
Coach, you touched a little bit about the play of your offense earlier, but Jalen Morton obviously was 23 for 36, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, did throw 2 interceptions. In the interceptions, was there anything that you saw that kind of led to those happening?
Yeah, sometimes you can put a ball out there. It's both angles. We had a couple of tip balls that didn't go our way. The tip ball wound up falling into Nickel State's hand, and it had a chance to make a great interception. So some things we got to sharpen up and understand where the receiver need to be at and where the ball need to be placed at. So just got to continue to work on the things that he's working on, and I think we'll be fine.
And Coach, just touch a little bit about his mobility. I mean, he rushed the ball for almost 100 yards and 2 scores. So he's a dual threat guy. How big is it for him to be able to make plays for you guys, not only via the air but with his legs?
It's extremely important because that's part of our offense, a quarterback that can be very mobile. So he brings a lot to the table, and we like what he's been doing. He's got to get better at some things, and we continue to work on those little things. But him being able to run as well as throw, I think it puts a little bit more pressure on the defense, I think.
And, Coach, just from a Nickel State team, obviously, that was athletic up front in the front 7, offensive line only allowed 1 sack. Can you touch upon the play of that front line for you guys?
Yeah, they're actually getting better. We came out, and that's our goal, is to make sure we play collectively better. And I thought the O-line did a good job of that. We had a couple of substitutions here and there, and a couple of guys that had to play that wasn't expected to play. But we feel real good about the line, the chemistry that they're coming together, and that's what we expect to be able to protect as well as run block.
How's it going, Coach? So over the game with Nickel State, you guys played strong on defense with 99 tackles, 4 sacks for 30 yards, and 5 tackles for a loss for 30 yards. Talk about the things that led up to that.
Well, it's going well, but the things that led up there, I mean, we playing assignment sound defense, and just some things I think we have to fix in all 3 phases of our game that's going to make us a much better football team. So those are things that we work on throughout the week, and I feel we'll get better at.
Coach Dooley, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to jump on the call with us, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thanks for having me.
We will now actually have a change in our schedule. I think we have Coach McKinney on the line. Do we have Coach McKinney?
I'm here.
All right. Good morning, Coach. If you could please just start us out with an opening statement about your team's outing this past weekend.
Yeah, we went to UL Lafayette and were overmatched a little bit. They were a more physical team than we were. One thing that made me proud of our guys is that they continued to fight from start to finish, played really hard, got an opportunity to play a lot of guys who hadn't had a chance to play in the previous couple games. So guys showed us that they deserved a little bit more playing time. So from that standpoint, we learned a lot about our team.
Thank you, Coach. And obviously you guys started out with 3 games out the gate. Now you have a bye week. Can you talk a little bit about what you hope to get out of the bye week? Obviously, it'll be much needed rest for your ball club as you get ready to get into conference play here in the upcoming weeks. I'm sorry, HBU and then some SWAC action, but just talk a little bit about what kind of progression and what are your plans for this bye week coming up.
The bye week definitely has come at the right time for us. We got a few guys that's nicked up and have been out with injury, so it'll give us a chance to heal up, and at the same time, it'll give us an opportunity to fine-tune some things both offensively and defensively, and give us an extra week to prepare for HBU. So it's come at the perfect time for us.
And Coach, if you could you preview that matchup against Houston Baptist?
Yeah, it should be, by our estimate, an evenly matched team. They're our crosstown rivals, so it's a battle for the city of Houston. They're a team that likes to spread you out and throw the ball around a little bit, and their base 4-3, true high safety look defensively. So it's going to be a good test for us as we finish up our non-conference schedule and give us a chance to get a win going into get some momentum going into our league play.
Good morning, Coach McKinney. This is Mike Prince.
Good morning, Mike.
All right. Last time we spoke, you were saying that you had to do a little deeper look on your guys in reserve, and from listening to your recap, you were able to tap into that. And did you find some diamonds in the rough that can help you get prepared for HBU?
Most definitely. I think we found that we got a couple pass rushers, and DeMontario Anderson as well as Tim Walton. We've also found that we got a really good deep group of running backs that we feel really good about that group of 4 or 5 guys at the running back position. And just a guy like Quincy Williams going out there and plugging the hole and running to the ball and giving great effort.
Now, Coach, you just made mention this battle coming up with HBU will be a battle for Houston. But I don't want to put any pressure on you, Coach. It's also going to be a battle for the conference. We need somebody from the SWAC to rise up against the Southland, man.
I've definitely noticed that. Yeah, Southland has been beating up on the SWAC, so this will give us a chance to give the SWAC a win.
Yes, sir. Now, we know the obvious is you got to execute and be self-disciplined, but what are you seeing some of the other keys for success for Tiger Nation up against HBCU?
For us, it's going to be getting off the field on third downs defensively and staying on the field on third downs offensively, moving those chains. And if we can do those two things, take care of the ball and maybe get some turnovers, and we feel pretty good about our chances.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot. Get prepared, man, and finish strong.
Thank you.
Coach McKinney, obviously some success this past week on special teams. Garcia was able to come in and knock in 2 kicks from 44 and 40 yards. Can you talk a little bit about your play on special teams?
Yeah, he's been a pleasant surprise, Richard Garcia. He's I want to say 6 for 7 on the year, and the first kick of his career he missed versus Prairie View, and he's made 6 consecutive kicks. So we feel good about our chances when we send him out of coming away with points. We feel good about our punter in Nikolai Russo. And kicking game has been doing well for us. We got to do a much better job from a coverage standpoint, but our specialists have been pleasantly surprising performance for us.
Coach, offensively, obviously you guys were limited against Louisiana, but can you talk a little bit about just the play of your quarterback and at the running back position along with your wide receivers, so all of your offensive specialists?
Yeah, DeAndre Johnson has been doing a really good job for us. We've got to do a much better job of protecting him and giving him some time and opportunity to throw the ball down the field. when we do get those chances to throw the ball down the field, we have some really good receivers on the outside, and Trendavian Dixon as well as Donnie Corley. Although Trent didn't catch very many balls this past week, he's always a threat when he gets out there on the field. And when we run the ball, we like to hand it to a couple freshmen, Ladarius Owens, Ja'Cory Howard, and then we got a couple other guys that we feel really confident in when they're in the game. Tyler Cook, who's a senior, and a redshirt freshman, and Dominique Franklin.
Coach, you touched on Dixon. Obviously, they were able to hold him to one reception. What were they doing against him that they were able to kind of limit his big play capabilities for your team?
You know, I don't think they were doing anything special to him. I just think when we made those calls to get him the ball, we weren't able to get it to him from a protection standpoint. Our quarterback didn't feel comfortable with the protection. We had a breakdown in protection a time or two, but we weren't able to get Trent the ball as much as we would have liked to have gotten the ball.
Coach McKinney, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to hop on the call, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Okay, thank you for having us.
We now go to our last call of the teleconference for today, and we'll be joined by Coach Dawson Odoms with Southern. This past week, the Jaguars got a big home win against Edward Waters, defeating them by a score of 61-0. We now go to Coach Odoms. Do we have Coach Odoms on the line?
Yes. Apologize for being late, guys.
No problem, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us. Coach, if you could please just give us an opening statement recap of your last outing this past weekend.
Well, really, I thought the guys were locked in. You know, you guard against the letdown. You want to continue to play well. We did a lot of good things in that football game, and that's really what it was all about, just us focusing on us. And that's what we tell our guys all the time. When we go play, it's never about the opponent. It's really about us playing for an expectation that we have set for our program. And if we do those things, we're pretty successful. When we do not do those things, we usually end up on the other side of the win column. But the biggest thing was just going out, taking care of the football, and I thought the guys did that very well and just playing with great effort and intensity. And I really thought early on we challenged ourselves to do that, and I really thought our guys executed at a high level and just really needed that kind of a football game, get some confidence going, which I don't think we had a lack of confidence. We've been playing pretty good in spurts, but we wanted to be more consistent, and I thought this ball game gave us some consistency.
Coach, when you look at a box score of a game that's, high points scored, one of the things that first might come to your mind is, they were, throwing the ball all over the place. But taking a deeper dive into the stats, you guys had over 400 yards via your ground game and 7 touchdowns via the rush. What did you see from that aspect, not only from the play of your offensive line, but also from your running backs?
Well, we're very pleased with our running game, and we believe that, in order to accomplish the things that we have said as a football team, you got to be able to run the football. And our first game of the season, we didn't run it very well. Second game of the season, we ran it a little bit better. Third game, we got much better at running the football. And I think the strength of our offense is our offensive line, returning running back and quarterback, and all those guys work well together. And just being able to run the football takes a lot of pressure off your quarterback. And that's usually when it's a sign that we're going to be a good football team, is when we're able to run the ball offensively. And I think when you look at those stats, you can see that not only did we run it, we put an emphasis on running it and did a pretty good job at executing.
Coach, you'll get an opportunity to go face a MEAC foe in Tallahassee at FAMU. Can you preview that matchup for us?
Yeah, it's a good football team. Know Coach Simmons really well. They're advertised. They played up, played down, and probably trying to find a little bit about their team. We played in the FCS. We done played up. We done played down. But I really think, as we continue to go, this is usually about the time of the year when you start figuring out what you really have. And they're a really good football team. Their quarterback is as advertised. He throws the ball about as well as anybody we've seen. They very talented at wide receiver and at running back. And defensively, they're going to fly around and been flying around to make some plays. And we're familiar with these guys. We played against him. He was at PV and got some of the same staff. But, you know, he got some very, very talented, skilled guys, and they play very well. So we know it's going to be a challenge for us, but it's going to be a great environment. And we're looking forward to going to Tallahassee and taking on FAMU.
Coach, just jumping back on offense, Devin Ben, last week, 17 carries, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns. How much more of that are you hoping to get from him and your entire running back staff against FAMU?
Well, I really think that's the strength. If we can run the football, it really opens up other areas of our offense. And if the Ben can be a catalyst for us and just continue to be that workhorse, I think it pays dividends because he's the most experienced back that we have. But we got to change the pace of backs. We played 4 or 5 running backs, and for one guy to be able to get 120 yards, that's rare for us because we rotate those guys and keep them really fresh. But it's good to see that he's taking the role of saying, I want to be the guy, and it's always great to have a 100-yard rush.
Coach Odoms, this is Jim Klein-Peter. I wanted to ask you about the passing game. It looked like Ladarius struggled a little bit, and then y'all kind of shut the passing game down. Do you have any concerns there? You looked like he threw in the coverage a couple of times and made some inaccurate throws. Any concerns there?
No. I think we took some shots. Probably didn't read the rotation correctly, but he'll be fine. I think he's getting better, and he's starting to understand it a whole lot better. And each week, it's going to be a new team, new challenges. But he'll be ready to throw it when we need to throw it. And believe me, we got some receivers that we're working. You know, TJ's out. He was out for this past game. Hopefully we get a ruling on him today and see if he's going to be ready to go. But I look forward to seeing him. I think he's that other guy on the other side that really give us big play potential. But at the end of the day, I think long as number 8 know where to go with the football and makes great decisions, we'll be fine on offense.
Okay, well, let me ask you about a couple other players. Jakari Carter didn't start. Is he hurt, and will he be back this week?
Yes, he'll be back this week. He'll be playing and, be ready to go. Probably if we had to have him, could have played more. He needed some rest. Talked to him, but he's ready to roll. Had a meeting on him this morning. Cleared 100%, feeling good, and that's what we like to hear. So, like I was telling you guys, this 9 weeks in a row. So you start against the Saints and Boots. So hopefully our guys can just get to that first bye week healthy enough, and then get them the needed attention during the bye week. But he is back and ready to go.
Do you expect to have Robert Rim back, and what is Glenn Brown's status?
Robert will not be back. Robert is done. He's done for the season. Hope to hear something on Glenn Brown today, and hopefully it's positive. And if it is, we'll get him back today. But if not, we got to continue to keep playing, and those other guys are getting a lot of reps and getting better. So good thing that we had a little bit of depth at that position because those guys have been forced into a role of a starter.
Coach, let me ask you about FAMU. That seems like a natural game that y'all should be playing every year based on the location of the schools and all. Would you like to play FAMU every year?
I have no problem with playing them every year. I think the home and home give both teams an opportunity to have good gates. I think it's always a good environment. I know I've been to their campus and played there. They usually got a good home day environment, and wherever we go, Jaguar Nation go make sure whether it's at McNeese, at Memphis, or in Tallahassee, they're going to make sure that we're well represented. And I think it's probably going to be a crowd that everybody's going to be talking about in the atmosphere that I think players love to play in. So if we could play it every year, we definitely wouldn't oppose that. We're definitely for playing those kind of games because it gives us a chance every other year to really have a good gate.
Well, you say Willie Simmons. Tell me what characterizes his teams.
Well, usually he's a former quarterback, so usually they got a lot of good skill players. But usually the skill set is usually what he tapered his team to is the skill of a certain type of skill set of player, and he's been able to do that. He did it when he was at PV. He's doing it now that he's at FAMU, and just a really fast-paced football team, well-disciplined football team, and just a really good offensive-minded coach. And you can see it when you watch the film.
Okay, are you going to make a change at kicker, or are you just going to let that play out again this week with Martell and Cesar?
It's really just they play rock, paper, scissors, and decide who go out there.
Coach Odoms, as always, we appreciate your time jumping on the call, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, guys. Go Jags.
This will conclude our SWAC Head Football Coaches Teleconference call for Monday, September 16th. As always, for the latest information about the Southwestern Athletic Conference, please visit us online at www.swac.org and via our social media accounts on Twitter and Instagram at the SWAC. Thank you.
The voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.